This is kind of neat. Well, this is the first time I've ever done one of these YouTube lives. I decided to try it out, see how it works out. If I like it enough, I might do it more often. We'll see. I put my glasses on and I can't really see anything. But hey, guys, just wanted to do this live chat thing. See what happens. Just do it for a little bit, maybe like 10 15 minutes before I gotta go to bed here. I gotta get up pretty early tomorrow to make this delivery. Gotta wake up about 1 a.m. Eastern time to make this delivery. 2 deliveries on time. The 2 live unloads, so I gotta make sure I get those done. But wanted to give this a shot, see how it works, see how if I can manage doing it or not. But yeah, it's kind of just a test run for this and whatnot. I figured I'd just kind of start talking, and then let everyone just kind of, if you want to ask questions while I'm talking, feel free to ask questions and I'll answer them here. That's kind of what I wanted to do. So pretty cool stuff lately. I've been officially on the road driving on my own for 3 months now. I've hit over 30,000 miles on my own, and it's been one heck of an experience, if I had to say. This is like nothing I ever really thought. I mean, I guess I never really thought I could do this, I guess. And I gave it a shot, and 3 months later, 3,000 miles later, I feel pretty good about it. I still want to continue to do this, but one of the things I do want to talk about for a little bit is that I still pay attention to what everybody says on YouTube channels, other trucking channels, things like that. A lot of people out there have really, really good information, and I take it all in like a little sponge, you know. And I take it all in, and I kind of take the information that I want to use, and then I throw out the information I don't want to use, right? That's typically what you do with informationals and things like that. But man, what I do see a lot of, unfortunately, is I do see a lot of other rookie truck drivers like myself who are either in their first month, 2 months, some of them even in their first 6 months to a year. And a lot of them say things like they didn't think it was going to be this way, and they don't like this and they don't like that about truck driving. And I'm like, man, I think about that a lot when I see those kinds of videos about what they don't like about it. And I think to myself, a lot of things that they say, I don't want to name names or anything like that, but a lot of things that they say are things that I thought to myself, why didn't you ask yourself these questions before you even thought about becoming a truck driver? Why did you wait until after you spent 3 to 6 months on the road before doing that? I'm like, these are questions you should ask yourself seriously before you even consider doing this. In my opinion, I feel like you need to ask yourself if you're ready for a job like this before you even decide to jump in. The worst thing you can do is waste your time by just jumping into something that you're not ready for, that you might not think that you're ready for. This is not a 9 to 5 job. Like I just finished saying at the beginning of this stream, I got to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Most people don't get up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Most people are asleep, but I got to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, which means I got to go to sleep here in the next like 15, 20 minutes. But it's different every day. You have to be prepared for things like that. You have to have the mindset that this is how your career and how your life's going to go while you're doing this. And a lot of people I see, like, they're just surprised by it once they get into it. It's like, why were you surprised about it? I think you should do a little bit of research before you make a jump this significant. So that's why I kind of figured that maybe, one of the things that I could help people out with is letting you know what some of the bad things about doing this job that I found over the first 3 months are, and what are the easy things, what are the hard things, what are the easy things, to kind of give you a mindset. If you're not already a truck driver and you're thinking about being one, maybe I could help you out with figuring out if this really is something you want to do. Hey Lowen, I saw your comment there. uh, I use actually two different GPSs. That's one suggestion that I would say. One of them that I do use is I went ahead and purchased Trucker Paths uh, turn by turn navigation on the Trucker Path app, and it works pretty well for me. I'm it's pretty accurate, to be honest. It's updated pretty frequently. It runs off of the Google Maps engine. Like, they use Google Maps satellites and whatnot to do their turn by turn. So it's pretty accurate for the most part. Just very rarely has it ever kind of led me astray. But I'm just gonna say that no matter what GPS that you use, whether it's Rand McNally, Garmin, Google Maps, Waze, name any other ones that you use, and chances are at least one out of every 10 trips that you put on there, it's going to take you to a wrong direction. It's just how it goes. But personally, I like the Trucker Path turn by turn. I like the best feature that I like about Trucker Path is the feature that tells you where parking spaces are on your routes, and what the availability either is currently, if Trello drivers are updating it. If they're updating it live, it'll tell you how the parking is like, whether it's full, whether there's some, or whether there's many parking spaces. And then you can also go and look on the weekly trends, on the daily trends, and it'll tell you during what hours is the parking busy. General rule of thumb, I will say though, when it comes to parking, is if you're gonna look for truck stop parking after 6 p.m., no matter whether it's Eastern time, Central time, Pacific time, Mountain time, doesn't matter. 6 p.m. is kind of you should probably start looking for a place fairly quickly, because after 6 o'clock, around when 7 or 8 o'clock comes around, you're gonna have to get really lucky if you find a spot at a truck stop. You're gonna have to you're gonna find spots that are gonna be difficult to get into, because that's all that's gonna be left. Everyone took all the easier one. Everyone takes all the easier ones and leaves the hard ones available. You're either gonna have to pay for parking, like at a Pilot or a TA. If they have reserve parking, you may have to pay about $15 a night for a spot, or you're gonna have to go and park on the side of the highway. Exit ramps are what a lot of people do. I typically don't like to do that, because I like to have a place where I feel comfortable being, versus a place where anything could happen. So, and plus I like to use the bathroom in a place where I'm not gonna feel like I'm gonna get like stabbed or anything while I'm taking a leak or something. What's the most stressful thing about trucking? That kind of goes back into what I was saying earlier. Stressful thing, I guess, would be let's see. Not a lot of things that stress me out, to be honest, but if I had to say the most stressful thing that I think that gets that's the hardest to adjust to is I think sleep. The sleep schedule. I think for me, I feel like that's the number one hardest thing. I think is that if you're used to, if you've been working 9 to 5 jobs your whole life, or you have some consistency, most people will go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning. In this job, you don't do that. Very rarely will you have consecutive days where you'll be able to say, I'm going to go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever, right? Very rarely will you be able to actually say that. Typically, it's like, well, where's the next load coming from? Where's the next load need to be delivered to? Where do I need to go pick it up? What city is it in? Where am I at currently? Where do I got to go? And that's going to dictate where you're going to have to fit in your sleep, your showers, your workouts, your cooking, your food, whatever else you need to do in between the time that you're not driving. And that can get kind of stressful, to be honest, because you have to figure that out, because you have to sleep, right? You have to be able to sleep. You have to be able to relax a little bit. You can't just be on the go over here all that. You can't just be always on. You have to turn yourself off a bit, and you have to be able to create time for that. And that can be stressful when you're trying to figure out, well, how much sleep am I going to get tonight? Am I going to be able to get 8 hours of sleep, or am I only going to get like 6 hours of sleep? Typically, I try to get between 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I can operate pretty well on 6 to 8 hours of sleep. But that, to me, I think is the most stressful, is that, well, sometimes you're gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be driving all the way till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then your next load is due at a weird time the next day. So then you're gonna have to get up again at, you're gonna have to get up at midnight, and you're gonna have to go to your load or whatever, or your delivery, or however it works. And that's the thing, like, you never really know. At least when you're starting off, I feel like that's the most stressful thing, is trying to figure out how to make your body used to sleeping at odd times of the day. Because sometimes you're going to have to sleep during the day. When you're not used to that, it can be stressful, because you're trying to shut your body down when it's not used to doing that. As far as hard things, so far, my favorite part of the country to drive in so far, let's see. I really enjoyed driving the southwestern part of the United States. I did a drive from Kentucky all the way through California, Southern California. So I went through, I went through North Texas. I went through New Mexico. I went through Arizona, and then went through California. And the desert is, to me, I feel like the desert is absolutely beautiful. I enjoyed that. Just recently, I drove through Florida for the first time as a truck driver, and the scenery in Florida is amazing, as you would imagine. Palm trees everywhere. Hey, Midnight Club, congratulations. That's good to hear. But yeah, Florida's pretty nice. I got my first experience in Atlanta today, and I didn't like it. I'll tell you, as much as I'm from Texas, and I've driven through Texas my entire life, right? Going to Austin, Dallas, Houston, and I gotta say, I don't like driving in Texas. I don't like driving in Texas. Texas sucks, man. Austin is horrible. Houston is horrible. And there's nothing nice to see in Texas. Nothing but just same old crap to me. But I love Texas. But driving through it, I'd rather not, to be honest. I like driving through the West. I like driving through the East. I enjoy driving through the Northwest too. I did that the first week that I was with my trainer. We did the drive through Montana, Idaho, Washington. All those the mountain states up there were really beautiful, and it was really nice. There's some nice things to see out here when you get out here. It's real nice to take it all in sometimes as you're driving. Sometimes it can be kind of monotonous. You're out there for hours. You'll kind of space out for a minute, but every now and then you'll notice something. You'll be like, hey, that's cool. Found any tricks to throwing chains? Now, the thing about chains is, because of the season of where we're at this point, I haven't had to put chains on. And I really honestly haven't had to put chains on by myself since I started. I've only driven in a little bit of snow, maybe once or twice when I first started back in December, and when I first went on my own in January, and it didn't really require chains, so I didn't put chains on. So honestly, I haven't really had to put chains on since I started. When it comes to that point, I'm sure it's gonna be difficult to put them on. I kind of have. I mean, I obviously done it, like practice wise and training wise. We put the chains on and whatnot, but I actually haven't had to put the chains on my own. So probably won't have to do that again till probably later on this year. Um, I haven't actually been in the north in a while, so I know it's still kind of snowing in different parts of the snow. Midnight Club. I'll tell you this. I've talked about this a little bit too, but yeah, taking that leap it really is a leap of faith. Um, I came from a background. I was IT. Uh, I came from an IT background. I've been doing IT jobs for the past 10 plus years, and wanting to do truck driving was something that I kind of thought about. And once I did the research about it and whatnot, and it started to kind of check my boxes of what I was looking for in another career, because I felt like I was just kind of stagnant in what I was doing. Um, I I took that step. I took that leap. I decided to do it, and I was scared too. I was nervous too, because I hadn't even really driven big trucks before. Like for you, considering that you've at least had some experience with driving a commercial vehicle, that'll at least help you out a little bit when you get out here. It is different because you're hauling a 53-foot trailer behind you versus having something that's attached to you that doesn't move on its own. Um, but the fact that you've already had some commercial driving experience, I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be good. I think you'll be good to go. Um, but yeah, good luck to you, man. Once you get out here to CFI, um, are you going? I didn't. I probably asked this, but are you? I would assume you already have your commercial driver's license, so you're not going to have to go through the schooling program, right? Like, are you just going to go straight into to training? I'm assuming that's what you'll be doing. I didn't have my CDL when I decided to do this, so I uh, I went through the school and whatnot. Oh, okay. So you had a class B, yeah. Okay, so you will have to go through the school. Which school you're going to? Are you gonna go through the CFI schools, or you're going to your own school? I chose Crowder. Um, are you going to Crowder? I think it's Crowder Truck Dynasty. I think those are the two different ones. Which one did you choose? I chose Crowder, and the reason that I chose Crowder was mostly because of the. I mean, I guess the real reason that I chose Crowder at the time, because I didn't know anything about what these schools are actually like, is because they said they had a cafeteria. It's because they said they had a cafeteria on site and that they would feed you 3 times a day, and you wouldn't have to worry about that. Uh, and so that was kind of my thing, where I was like, because if you pick Truck Dynasty, they put you in a hotel room for those 3 weeks, and they give you like an allowance for meals, so that you have to go out and like buy your own food and buy your own groceries and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, man, like I don't know if I want to be like doing all that while I'm trying to concentrate on studying and making sure that I'm ready to go in this school. I'd rather just go to the cafeteria and have them, food that's ready that I can just grab and eat and then go. Uh, my class was only 2 people. It worked out where it was 2 people. The idle. Hey Oz, how's it going, man? I'm assuming it's Oz. I see zero space Z, but I'm assuming Oz. I'm just gonna call you Oz. But the uh, the idle policy is the same year round at CFI. It's basically the trucks are set to a no idle between 34 degrees and 70 degrees. So if the temperature on the truck is reading 34 all the way up to 70, you won't be able to idle the truck. It'll turn off. But if it's below freezing, which is 34 degrees or under, or if it's really really hot, especially right now in the summer, you can idle the truck. It won't shut off if you leave it on. However, if it drops below 70 degrees, and your truck reads under 70, you won't be able to idle the truck. It'll just turn off. But right now, during the hot summer months, you can idle the truck. Hey, Niche. Congrats for starting trucking school, man. All right, Midnight Club. I got to answer that one. It's a very quick answer. That's I don't have a CB. Here's the reason why I don't have a CB, and I'm kind of wondering if I should even get one at this point. The trucks don't come with a CB, so you have to provide your own CB. At least here at CFI, you have to provide your own CB. CBs are not expensive, but I think the cheapest one that I've seen is like $100. And I'll tell you, $100 for something that, if I bought it now, I haven't used it in 3 months. If I bought it now, how often am I really going to use it? I think one of the biggest things the CB is used for is just to talk a lot of shit. I think I can say that on YouTube. On the CB with other truck drivers, just to have general conversation. Yes, satellite radio does come equipped on here. You do have to. I think you have to subscribe. You have to open up a subscription. It's not provided for you, but you can open up your subscription to Sirius and a XM or whatever. And I think you can get satellite radio. I just personally use my cell phone because there's Bluetooth here. I just use my cell phone for jams, podcasts, and whatnot while I'm driving. To me, I feel like it's better and it's free. I don't have to pay any money. And I can listen to whatever I want, whenever I want. But the CB, just a quick thing on the CB. The only reason I'd want to get a CB is so that I could maybe communicate a little bit clearer while I'm driving with fellow truck drivers as they're doing things that I'm kind of like, what are you doing? You'll see scenarios out when you're driving that a truck driver will have inconsistent speeds that causes you to have to make a decision. Like you'll see some truck drivers that they'll be all of a sudden they'll slow down to a really slow speed, and then they'll speed up as you're trying to pass them, and you're like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to drive fast? Do you want to drive slow? What do you want to do? Because I'm trying to just drive. So do you want to keep going fast or do you want to go slow? Because you need to make a decision, because you're pissing me off. That's the way I feel sometimes. And I wish I could say that to him, like, hey, what are you doing? Speed up or slow down. Make a decision. Stop being inconsistent with your speed, please. Those kinds of things. That's the only reason I'd probably want to get a CB. But other than that, and then traffic jams. That's another one. That's a good one. Traffic jams, I would probably like to have a CB for traffic jams, because that's probably where the most communication happens that I hear. Is, fellow truck drivers typically will tell you, hey, there's a wreck, 10 miles ahead. It's going to slow down traffic if you're listening to this or whatever, right? But other than that, I mean, I'm just kind of like, man, is it worth the money to put one in here at this point after not having one for 3 months? I'm still debating on whether or not I should get one or not. Honestly, with my Love's Rewards points, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll just buy one with that and I won't have to buy nothing. The answer to that question, Midnight, is yes. I think I get what you're saying, and I'm going to talk, and I'll see if that's what you're asking. So when I take home time, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. We don't have a terminal or anything in San Antonio. So when I request home time, one of the things they ask you when you start is, where are you going to park the truck? And you tell them, you pick a spot. Typically it's going to be it's got to be a secure spot. Don't just tell them I'm gonna park it at the park or whatever. I'm gonna park on the side of the highway. Pick a truck stop. Love's, pilot, or if you do want to park it in a secure parking area where you're going to pay for parking, you can definitely do that too. If that's available in your hometown, you just tell them that, and then they'll send you home, and that's where you can go park it where you need to at home. But yeah, they'll send you home with your truck, and and if you happen to live in an area where you can park the truck and the trailer, if you have the trailer with you, in front of your home, like I know some of us live on like ranches and things like that where you have a lot of space, then yeah, you can take it home. You can take it to your house if you have enough room to park it there. I don't. I live in a neighborhood, in a suburban neighborhood, so I don't have enough room to take it to to my house. If I took it to my house, I'd probably piss off my neighbors for blocking their driveways. So I don't do that. I just take it to Love's. Um, I'm trying to see here. I want to make sure. Let me see. I'm trying to see. I know people have actually been asking me some questions. I'm going through the chat here. It's the first time doing this, so I'm kind of like making sure here, making sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. How often you get to stop and restock your truck? When you mean restock my truck, do you mean like groceries and things like that? Is that what you mean by restocking my truck? If that's what you mean by restocking my truck, it's kind of just dependent on where you're at and how close you are to things. Sometimes you're going to have to stop in areas that don't have grocery stores nearby, unfortunately. So you won't be able to. What I try to do is, if I feel like I got time to spare, like I'm not like on a tight deadline and I got an extra time, I might go stop at a Walmart. Just go find a Walmart with a big, or a grocery store with a big parking lot, and I'll just go park it and go do a quick grocery run, and then I'll be good to go. But typically I try at least once a week to stock up, and when I stock up, I buy stuff. Well, maybe actually maybe once every 2 weeks, because that's how I typically stock up. Because I may not get the chance to go to a grocery store week to week. It just depends on where you're at, where you're stopping. Um, you're always going to be able to stop at places like truck stops, but man, if you're going to stock up your truck at truck stops, you better take some cash with you, because it's a little expensive at truck stops. So yeah, but anytime I get a chance to feel like, hey, I can go to Walmart today, I got an extra 2 hours of drive time that I'm not going to use. Might as well let me go use it. Let me go to Walmart for a minute. If Walmart's on the route or something, then yeah. Whoo, okay, Niche. Explain the 70 hours of service, 8-day work week. I'm going to try to explain this as easy as possible without confusing anybody, because it does get kind of confusing. But the best way that I can explain it to you is, you got an 8-day work week, right? I'm going to use this as an example. Let's just do Sunday through the following Sunday. Those are your 8 days, right? That's what we're going to use as an example. So 70 hours is what you have total for drive time and on duty time. Every single day, as soon as you start, starting with that first Sunday, that first day you clock in, you have 14 hours of on duty time and 11 hours that you can drive. That doesn't mean you have to use it all that day. It just depends on where you're picking up your load from, where you're delivering it to, and how soon you need to get it there. That's how you'll determine how long you want to drive that day. So the best example that I can say is that if you're going to go with the idea that you're going to drive 11 hours every day, you're going to burn through your drive hours within the first 6 days. And then you're going to sit there for almost 2 days with no drive hours. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you're going to drive 11 hours every day, you're going to burn through your 70-hour clock, and you're not going to get a reset until you take a 34-hour reset, or you're not going to get your recap, which you get on your eighth day, like what you would get back on that Sunday, that following Sunday. Right? Am I doing that right? Let me see, because The eighth day is where you would get a recap of of whatever hours you started off on that first day that you started working. The best thing that I can tell you about the 70-hour clock is just use it accordingly. Most of these trucks come with ELDs, the electronic logging devices, and they'll tell you how many hours you have left for the week. They'll tell you when you get your resets, when you get your recap, how many hours you're going to get on your recaps, um, things like that. So it's not that hard to figure it out, but it really just comes down to where you're going and where you need to be. How soon do you need to be there? Do you need to yeah, the first day hours you get back on your eighth day. So if you on the first day you did you worked for, you did 11 hours of driving, you're going to get 11 hours on that eighth day. If you don't take a 34, if you take a 34, you're going to get your 70 back. But if you don't take a 34, then you're going to start recapping. And what that means is you get your first day, right? On that first day, which if you did 11 hours that first day 8 days ago, you get those 11 hours. Those 11 hours are for both on duty and drive time. Not you don't get 14 again on duty. It's just 11, right? Now, if you drive 7 of those, use 7 of those, you're going to carry those 4 hours you have left into the next day, where you'll recap what you did on the second day, and so on and so forth. It can get kind of confusing, but it's not that hard to figure out once you kind of get the gist of it. It's up to you whether or not you want to run off of recaps, or if you just want to, do your 70, take a 34, and then refresh your 70 again. So then you don't have to worry about calculating recap, or worrying about whether or not you need to run off a recap or not. However, I will say this: if you're driving too much at the beginning, if you're doing like 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, you're going to burn through your 70 really quick, and you're going to kind of be forced to take a 34 because you're just not going to have any hours left, and you're going to have to stay put. So if your idea is, I want to keep rolling, I don't really want to take breaks, then you have to calculate how much you're driving so that you can have time to drive on that 7th day, so that on that 8th day you get the recap and you just keep rolling. You just keep driving. If you want to do it that way, that's how you typically can get more miles in without having to take long breaks, if that's what you want to do. But if you prefer, I want to take my 34-hour break, I want to break, then just take your 34-hour and it'll reset. Hey, thank you, Low in Rhythm, man. Good luck to you. We'll just see if I prefer you guys to park at during a 10-hour. If it was CFI's choice as far as where they want us to park, I would think that they would want us to park in the safest gated parking lot area that costs $30 a night to park at. That the truck's not gonna get broken into. I think if they had their preference, they would prefer everyone to park in parking lots like that, but that's not the reality out here. The reality is you're gonna park where you can. Sometimes you're gonna be able to park at truck stops. Sometimes you're gonna have to park on the side of the road. I mean, it just depends on how you plan your day out, and if you can find parking at truck stops. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. But yeah, if CFI had like, if it was CFI's like choice, I'm sure they would rather you park in the most secure parking lot that you can park in and whatnot. But that's just, they know that that's not realistic. That's not the reality. They just, they would suggest that you make good judgment about where you park. If you're a risk taker and you just decide, I'm going to park on the side of the highway every night, hey, more power to you. But if something happens to the truck, you made the choice to park on the side of the highway where you got mugged, where they stole the truck, or where they broke into it, or where they damaged it, where all that, so on and so forth. Typically, truck stops are probably the most safest place to park at. because there's so many people there. Nobody's really gonna mess with you there. No one's really gonna mess with your truck there. Um, just always be aware about where you're parking and be aware of your surroundings and stuff like that when you decide to park at night to take your 10 hours, because once you hit that bed and you go to sleep, you don't know what's going on outside of the truck. So, but I typically try to stop at truck stops every day to sleep, to take my 10, or if there's a company terminal in the area that I'm gonna be delivering to and I need to take my 10, then I'll go to one of our terminals and I'll stay at one of our terminals. So, but yeah, but it's been pretty cool, guys. I mean, 30 30,000 miles plus already is what I've done. I've been out here for 3 months. It doesn't even feel like it's been 3 months. It's gone by so fast. I mean, I'm just really excited to keep going out here and see how everything ends up for me out here. And I'm always willing to answer questions and help out. That's what I really started this channel for. Um, yeah, I've been to the Laredo terminal a couple of times, especially because I'm from San Antonio. It's only 2 hours away. So typically when I'm requesting home time, they'll send me that way to just kind of do some loads that way, and then they'll send me home. So I've been there a few times. That I will say. Places that I hate: Laredo. I do not like truck driving in Laredo. It sucks. It's terrible. The roads over there in Laredo are not built for traffic, and there's nothing but traffic out there. It's horrible. And the truck drivers over there in Laredo, my goodness, you got people that are jumping off the highway and crossing like into the lanes, like through the middle, from the middle of the highway, like over, it's a killer. It's either kill or be killed over there in Laredo. I know that sounds kind of funny because it's on the border, but that's also another thing. It's a border town, so some things happen over there, but I've never experienced them. They usually happen on the other side of the border, but it's hell over there in Laredo. My goodness. The terminal's okay. It's not too bad, but man, I do not like truck driving in Laredo. It's terrible. Traffic like hell. Most of the shippers over there, their lots are super tiny and small, and you're gonna have to do a lot of 90-degree backing, and you have to worry that you're not gonna run into anybody, because there's a truck over here on this side of the street, there's a truck over here on this side of the street, there's a moron in the middle that decides he's gonna stop there for a minute instead of like veering out. You have to deal with a lot of stuff in Laredo. Laredo sucks. No offense if there's anybody from Laredo watching this right now. I don't have anything against the city of Laredo. It sucks for truck drivers. I'm just going through to see if I make sure I answered everybody's questions tonight, because I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night here, because I gotta get some sleep. This actually went a lot more. It's actually went a lot better than what I thought. That's a good question, Midnight, and the answer is yes. You can take your home time wherever you want to take your home time. If you want to go on vacation, let's just say you want to take a week off and you want to go to Miami, you can tell them I want to take home time in Miami, and they may not put you in Miami, but they'll try to put you close if there's loads that way. The thing is that you're gonna have to figure out how to get around, right? You're gonna have to park the truck in a spot, that's okay, and then you're gonna figure it out how you're gonna get around and stuff like that. But you don't have to take home time at home. You can request to take your home time somewhere else. That's not a big deal from what I know. Is that you can request to take your home time somewhere else. But yeah, Midnight, I look forward to seeing how it goes for you. I don't think you could go wrong either way, whether you decide to choose Crowder or Truck Dynasty. I don't think you can go wrong either way. They both will accomplish the same thing. I just chose Crowder because it was good for what I was looking for as far as being on a campus and having cafeteria where I could eat 3 times a day and be okay. Um, I will say there's almost nothing to do in Neosho, Missouri, where Crowder's at. So, and the nearest Walmart's 3 miles away, and there's not a lot of Uber drivers in that area. So that's the difficult part. If you need to go places, you may or may not get an Uber, and if you do, it's going to cost you like $15. It's very expensive. So take that into consideration when you're thinking whether or not you want to do Truck Dynasty or you want to do Crowder. But yeah, no, I have not. I don't. I haven't. No, I haven't. And we got a couple here, but typically that all goes to temp control. CFI temp control usually does all of the reefer, and whatnot. So yeah, typically it's all pretty much handled by one department. So I don't do any reefer. I really just do box, the box van, 53-foot box van, and that's really all I've hauled. I haven't really hauled anything else. So, and I don't really have a desire to do that anyways, because there's a lot more that goes into all the extra stuff and whatnot. At least not right now. Maybe later. But yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and take off here. I gotta get some sleep before to make this load, but I'll do this again sometime if y'all want to do these kinds of things with me. Want to do these live chats and whatnot? I'll try to do it. Maybe I'll try to do it maybe once a week, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. It just depends on what time. I just decided to do this, try it out, see how it works out. But if y'all are interested in doing more of these, let me know, and we'll do some more in the future. But until then, guys, I'll see you guys later. I'll be putting out more content, hopefully later this week. I got some videos to work on when I can. But yeah, I'll put some more stuff out there. But stay tuned to the channel, and I'll come back here and I'll let y'all know when I'm gonna go live again. Y'all have a good night, guys. Take it easy out there. Drive safe.